In this video we're going to learn how to create really simple animations with the GreenSock Animation Platform. But why would anyone want to learn how to do animations with that platform? What's that? GreenSock? No, wait, give me a moment. It's really simple to make animations with it. It will also save you time and money. Why? Because it has a lot of free features, and paid ones are a little bit more complex. The only thing that you really need is the free version, of course. So, more specifically, what are you going to learn in this video? How the HTML and the CSS and the classes are going to structure themselves. How to install the GSAP into your project. We'll be using the CDN. It's easier, of course. After it, we are going to create a really simple animation. Then you are going to also understand its syntax. We are going to add emotion, how smooth the animation is going to be. Then we are going to try to stagger animations up, make them happen one after the other. Then we are also going to create timelines, like the one that I use to edit my videos. Of course, it's a little bit different. And lastly, how to set events, like event listeners, with the GSAP animations. How to make stuff happen with the animations when the user interacts with the website. With that said, let's get started with the video. The structure of our mini project is going to be HTML documents, with the homepage being for later in this video. It's going to be how practical it can be with animations. This index one is going to only cover the basics of the animation with the GreenSock Animation Platform. Then you are going to use the CSS to style a page and the script to call the GSAP methods and all that stuff with the GSAP. So let's make the HTML. First thing that you need to do here is create a main container. I really love to create these main containers. It's really something like, it makes me so happy that you don't believe. Now we are going to create here a class of main container. You can use IDs, just make sure to adapt the code in the case that you use IDs, okay? Then you are also going to put here an age 1, which will say you are welcome. And age 1 is going to have a class as well, title. You might need to put another title, but in this case, it's a mini project, you can put the class of title. It's okay. Then you put another div, which is going to be the container, but the container name is going to be anchor container. Then you are going to have 3 anchors, the first one and the second one going to nowhere, and the third one going to the home page.html. Then right in the middle we are going to put emojis. Give me just a moment and the emojis are going to appear there. There they are, the like, the subscribe and the next button. Now the last thing you need to do in HTML is going to be applying a class for each individual button, the anchor button. There we go. With this, we are already ready to check this in the website. And it is looking like this, you are welcome and the 3 emojis. Now let's get to the CSS and start creating selectors. The first selector, the main container, we are going to say that background is going to get black. We are going to change it a little bit, just so it isn't really completely black, just like this, really professional. Then you are going to set the width as 100 and view W, which is the viewport of width, and the height of 100 view height. This way, it's going to occupy the whole page, as you can see here. Oh, it is not. It's obvious, guys. The reason why it's not really applying it's because we forgot to link the CSS into our HTML. So let's just link it up like this. The name is already correct, style.css. Now you can see it, but there's a problem. We have the spacings, the default spacing. So let's reset the spacings with the global selector, saying that the both margin and the padding is going to be 0 and the box sizing is going to be border box. And this way it's already occupying the whole screen. Let's just apply some styles now. This container here is going to also be of display flex, justify content center, align item center, and the flex direction will also end up being column. So we have the welcome in the top and the buttons at the bottom. Then let's also change the title. So the title gets a little bit bigger and white, as an example. So color white, font size 12 rem. You can also change font family because this way it's a little bit strange. Okay, now it's a little bit pretty. You can already see the stylings. You're also going to change these icons here, but let me just put it a little bit smaller, the title and the buttons. Before the buttons, let's change the container. So we are going to make them of display flex and add some gap between them. So now they are a little bit more separated. And with these, it looks strange because they are small, but once they get bigger, what's going to happen is pretty simple. Font size 3 rem. Okay. Now the flex direction, not the flex direction, text decoration is going to be none. And then we are also going to add a transition. It's going to add for the opacity, transition to the opacity, and it's going to last 200 milliseconds, as an example. You don't really need to put this, it's just so it gets smoother. Because you are going to create here a serial class, it's not for the container, it's for the button. When it's overed, we are going to reduce its opacity for 0.6. And in my opinion, this CSS is already pretty fine. We can already try to install the GreenSock Animation Platform. And for that, let's just open a new tab and either way, copy the link in the description or write it up yourself. GSAP install. Then let's enter it. And as you can see, it's pretty fast. We have the download, CDN, NPM, CodePen, GitHub. Let's just CDN. As they are saying here, it's really good to use the CDN because a lot of websites also use the CDN. So it will already be downloaded in the user's browser. So once they click on your website, they will not really take a lot of time to download the packages. They will most likely be already there. So let's copy the code. You don't need to really care about anything there. Just copy the code and grab the CDN with yourself and put it down here in the body, in the bottom of the body. If you want, you can put it in the head, but then you would need to debug it. And right after it, you can already put the script and specify the source script.js. And always make sure to put your own script after it, below it, because this way what's going to happen is you'll be able to install or use everything from the GSAP in your own document. This way actually making the animations yourself. Alright guys, now it is installed, we can already try to make the animations. The first thing is get the title here, because it's going to be the first thing that's going to be animated, and we are going to call for the GSAP. And you put a dot. There are a lot of things that you can put. The from, the to, from to, I don't know really well which one is first, but the first one that we are going to use is the from. We are going to change the initial position of the title. So instead of the title starting in the middle, it's going to start in the left or in the right, and then it's going to the middle. Let's put it starting from the left. So we are going to put here the selector first. The first parameter is going to be the selector, like query selector or selector all. I'm going to show you guys document.query selector. It's something like this. It's pretty much the query selector. And then you are going to put a comma and add here a curly bracket, an object. And what you need to specify inside here is, as an example, the duration. It has a default duration, but it's a little bit fast. Let's make it a little bit slower, 2 seconds. And we are also going to change the initial position. And in CSS, if you are making transform, let's just make a test. And what you do is transform, translate X or Y, and then parentheses. In here, the only thing that you need to do is putting X or Y. And the X is going to be the X-axis, right and left. And if you want it to start from the left, just put a negative value. In this case, if you want to make sure that the object, the element or the title in this case is going to always be outside of the screen, put the view height or the view width, depending on which direction. For X, view width. For Y, view height. Then, since we are using letters and symbols and all, we need to put the quotes, so we string. Let me remove this. And this is pretty basic, the pretty basic animation, in which if you don't know how to make animations in CSS, make sure to watch my video around that, because in there I specify how important duration is. Then you can already see that the animation is already working with a duration of 2 seconds and from the position of the left, you know, from the negative of X-axis. There are a lot of different things that you can do with an animation. You can, as an example, change the scale as well, or the opacity even. Let me show you guys. If you put here the opacity to 0.3, it's going to come a little bit more transparent, as an example. You can also change the color and all of that thing, but it doesn't really matter. You can animate how much you like, and always keep in mind, the more simple your animation is, the better for you and for the user. It lags less and looks more professional, modern. Now, since I'm a really diplomatic guy, I'm going to come here to the anchor button and I'm also going to animate the buttons. So let's just gsap.from, put a selector, a class, so we need to put a dot. If you forget the dot, it's not going to work. And you're going to increase the duration for 1 second. You're going to put 1 second for here as well. You're going to make it coming from the bottom, so Y and 100 view high. In this way it's come from the bottom. But first thing is that it's overflowing down here with the scroll bars, right? So just come here, don't select the body, but select the main container. That's why I like to create containers. This way you can simply come here and say that the overflow is going to be hidden. No more overflow. With these two animations already ready, let's try to make some manipulations into the motion, into the easiness of the animation, to make it smoother, to go a little bit faster or slower at the current space, or even to bounce and appear as elastic. Let's check it out. To install a GSAP, it's really easy. However, if you want to come here and actually get to the eases, I recommend you to go to the description. Because by going to the description, you are going to find the eases of the third version. And here you can see a graph of all the animations, how fast, where it goes and all of that stuff. Let's just use the back one. You just need to come here and copy or the whole quote or the ease as well. And this way you appear with the text and then the buttons come here and come back a little bit. But I didn't want it to be in here, I want it to be in this place. And now, for the icons, what you can have, it's something like a bounce one. Or instead of bounce, let's put circular. For this, there's not really much to say about it. It's simply just copying the ease and putting the tag. I simply do not recommend you to do the custom one. It's not really good. Just pick one of those that are already there. Most funniest ones, elastic and bounce. Back, it's a little bit smoother. Power, it's more professional. You also have the circ, the expo. There are a lot of types of eases. You just need to come copy here and you are going to already have it in your website. So the next thing that I'm going to teach you guys is how to stagger items. What's stagger? Stagger, wait a little bit more for the next one to appear. In this case, instead of showing the all buttons at the same time, since you're using a class, so there are more than one, we can say that they will stagger themselves during 0.5 seconds, making them wait a little bit more, half a second, before the next one appears. Let's check this out. As you can see, it appears one at a time. This half a second changes the whole dynamic of the website. You making these individual in JavaScript would hurt you a little bit. However, in this way, with the GreenSock animations, you can make it animate automatically with this stagger here, one after the other. And now I also want to change here the color of the main container. So let's here the GSAP. Instead of from, we are going to use to, because the color it's something like a black, and I'm going to make it something like a gray, a light gray, or even better, a purple. So to, then the selector. Since it's an ID, we are going to put hashtag, and then comma. Duration, we are going to put it 2 seconds, seems fine. Background color is going to be equals to purple. As you can see here, it comes from there and blah and blah. The background is not really working properly. Okay, it's a class. We need to put a dot. My bad, guys, my bad. Now it's already changing from the beginning, because we don't have a delay. We here applied the delay, but we didn't down there. So let's just apply the delay as well. And I didn't really like the purple too much. Let me just change it for red. And since you have duration of 1 plus duration of 1 plus 2 staggers, so ends up being 3 seconds of delay. And now, animate the background. But as you could also see, it's a little bit boring to keep putting the delay. So let's just remove the delays and create what? Create what, guys? A timeline. If you come here and create var entry or a presentation, it's going to be equals to gsap.timeline. It's a method, so parentheses. And this is going to be timeline. Let's just comment this so it doesn't animate anymore. And we are going to use the presentation dot and simply call the method. Because we are simply going to do the same thing. However, instead of GSAP, we are going to put our timeline. You can do it both ways. Put the presentation and then put the next after it with a dot and all, or just stagger everything together, because JavaScript can stagger everything together. And then put another one, which is the last one, and we don't even have to have the delays. Let's just go to the website and it's already staggering itself together automatically. Another feature of the timeline is adding defaults. Object defaults and then put the duration as 1. In this way, you don't need to put durations when you are applying it of 1, because the default is 1. It only makes sense to apply a duration if it's different than 1. So as you can see, we will load the page and it is working perfectly fine. Timelines have a lot more methods, and we are going to try to use this button here, the like button and the subscribe button, to add event listeners and call functions. So when you click on it, what is going to happen? It's going to, as an example, restart the whole thing, or simply reverse the animation and then make it come back. First thing that we are going to do is come here to your container and call the anchor button. You are going to create a variable called like, which is going to be the like button document dot query selector, and you are going to put here the class, so don't forget the dot. Then, since we are using the query selector instead of the all one, we are simply receiving the first element with that class. Then we can use the like.addEventListener. You can also use the onClick in HTML, but this way it's more JavaScript programmer, bro. And then put the here a click and another function. So let's put another function that we are going to create. You can also create it outside, but I don't find that necessary. And then inside of the function, we are just going to say that the presentation is going to be restart. As you can see here, it's going to make the animation, and you click on here the like, and it simply restarted again. Alright? Now to reverse, we are going to also use this like, but change for subscribe, and change the query selector to all, and instead of all of them, because this is going to return an array, we are only receiving the first position, or the first index, which is the second position. If you don't know how arrays work in JavaScript, click in this video, because then you are going to understand what I'm doing here. I'm going to call only the subscribe button. How? With the index of 1, because the array starts off the index of 0. Then we are going to say that the subscribe button is going to be add event listener on click as well, so click. We are going to add another function. It's going to be a little bit more complex. We are going to firstly change the speed, so time scale, which is going to make the animation of the whole timeline faster, 5 times faster. Then we are also going to put the presentation to reverse itself, pretty simple. And then we are going to set an interval, so var change interval is going to be equals to set interval of what? Of a function. So we are going to create another function, which is going to, inside of it, make the time scale go back to how it should be, to 1, because the default value is 1. It's like the transform scale of CSS. Then we are also going to put the presentation dot what? Restart, the one that we just used previously, this one, the restart. And we are also going to clear this interval, the interval of the change interval, so it doesn't make an infinite loop. And then we finally put the 2000 milliseconds as an example, because this is going to be in milliseconds, 1000, so 2 seconds. You can use it here with the variable, but since it's only one time, you can already put the value in it yourself. So what's going to happen is, when you click on the subscribe, we are going to make it faster and reverse it. Then after 2 seconds, 2000 milliseconds, we are going to make the speed again normal, and we are going to restart the whole animation. So it's going to start from the beginning. And then we are also going to clear the interval, so the loop doesn't continue. Let's click on the subscribe button, and everything happened really fast, and then they come back again really smooth, guys, as you can see. And now, if you want me to click in this button here and go to the home page, and check how you could apply these GreenSock animations into your project, into a real website, not like this one, like a presentation page, but a real web page. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment asking me to make a second video about this GreenSock Animation Platform. So in this video it's everything. I hope you guys understood everything and could grasp a little bit more how the GreenSock is simple. Because if you master the simple stuff, the simple animations, you can make your website at least 100 times better. And never forget, when in doubt, leave a comment that I will help you out. I'm Veigas and I'll see you in the next video.